Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Hello, Internet. This is Seat Time. Welcome to episode 79. I'm not as sore as I think some people would think I would be after such weekend, and no, I did not spend it in East Texas. It was in West Texas Racing, not at some other establishments at any kind of bachelor party. We were at the Concho National Enduro this past weekend. We had a ton of fun. Me and James Hill drove out there. Great time. And the good thing is we're going to have the ability to talk about that because we're going to have the winner of round 3 of the National Enduro Series, Andrew Delong, on to talk with us this evening. Now, Andrew's really been heating up the scene, if you want to kind of get a little strange with it, winning tons of GNCCs this year already, which two is ton. You know, that could be a ton, I think. And then, of course, winning this past weekend at the National Enduro. I think it's going to be awesome to hear what he has to say about this year, because having 2 years in a row in the XC2 class, finishing 3rd overall, now with all the 2 wins he's already got this year and a dominating performance, and then great job this past week at the National Enduro. Obviously, the dude's done something different. He's in a different mindset. You know, we're going to figure it out. We're going to talk to him about it. I don't know. He might have learned math. You know, he's like, I like calculus now. We're going to figure it out. But for those of you who have just come into this for the first time, what you're watching is Seat Time. We sit down and we bench race and beer drink through a lot of the off-road racing results that go on. We love to have riders on like Andrew. We're going to have Dale Spangler and Brian Elliott joining us a little bit later. They may be all on at the same time. I know Dale would love the chance to congratulate Andrew in person. They are Fly Racing. Dale is with Fly, and of course Andrew, he likes to wear the Fly stuff, and we're sponsored by Fly, which is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't like to be sponsored by Fly? And of course, Ride PG, Power Sports Graphics, and then Squarespace. So all of those guys, very big thanks. If you happen to be watching Seat Time right now, don't forget that if you're driving to a race, you could listen to Seat Time. You can listen to us on the Stitcher app. You can listen to us on iTunes, or you could even lose video feed like we just did. That's okay. We're going to keep going. So as Steven is going to get us reconnected, I'm going to try to get some more stuff figured out. So what this weekend, it was really interesting because James Hill and I drove out to the Concho Enduro like we've been doing to a lot of the other Enduros. It's a dissect Enduro, so it was round 5 of the dissect series, but it was round 3 of the National Enduro Series. So we go out there, and Charlie Mullins has just been burning up the scene. And do we got you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, no idea what's going on. We're just going to go with it. All right, so before I keep talking too much, let's just go ahead and bring you in because you're a sexy man. So Andrew Delong, tell me, how is it going, kind sir?
It's going good. I just got home from Texas. I flew from Dallas to Charlotte, and this morning I left at 5 a.m., and I drove all the way home to PA so I can spend a week at home and relax a little bit. I've been going on the road since Christmas, so I'm just trying to catch back up and sleep in my own bed. I miss it, so.
Oh, dude, I bet, man. I was talking to Jason Hooper this past weekend, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, I am so looking forward to Easter weekend coming up because we don't have anything to do. And I can imagine, since he's been at pretty much all the races that you've been racing, that you feel a lot the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long season. In the beginning of the season, we go down to Florida and start training and, try to get out of the cold weather because in PA there's so much snow on the ground and you can't ride. And, so we try to venture down sort of southward. And, I mean, it helps, but it's also a lot of time away from home. So it's definitely good to get back to, my house and, sit on the couch in my underwear, stuff like that.
Absolutely. See, now that's that's why I use this laptop, is actually that way I can just, nobody has any idea that I actually am on my couch in my underwear. I even have one of my unmanly beers, which doesn't have gluten because it's not a beer, it's a cider, because unfortunately, we've had that. We'll make fun of me again. That's fine. It's whatever. But so let's figure out a little bit more about you, Andrew DeLong. I was looking at some of the results, and we've talked, we've been at races together, but I think that there are people out there that maybe don't know a lot about you. So looking at the results in, say, GNCC, the past 2 years, you were in the XC2 class. You've got third both of those years. Last year was a fantastic year for you, though. In the back half, you were injured going in, but give us a little bit of a precursor to that. It sounds like you grew up in Pennsylvania. What series were you racing and all that kinds of stuff? Like, what was your growing up like?
Well, I started riding when I was 4, and then I started riding, and then my dad basically he'd take me on the toughest trails in Pennsylvania pretty much. And once he thought I was ready to race, I got my first race when I was 11, and I won. So it sort of went from there, and ever since then I've been racing local races. I mean, I raced District 6, East Coast, and PA Hare Scramble Series, and occasionally I go to a GNCC, but not very often. And I just keep racing, and I actually moved up to the pro class in the local series, and I won the Enduro one 3 years ago, and
Right.
I finished second in the East Coast Hare Scramble. So it was good, and I never I've never really raced GNCCs, and I figured I'd go give it a shot, and try it out at the national level. And I went to the Florida GNCC, and I got fourth in XC2. That was like all my own, privateer and everything. So
That's pretty awesome. So, with how was it kind of reaching out there and just saying, hey, let's go hit up a couple GNCCs, having never done them, as a privateer racer?
Well, I mean, I lied a little bit. Like when I was on a youth bike, a KX100.
We don't like liars on our show.
Yeah.
We're very honest people here. We screw stuff up and it happens. You live with it.
Yeah. I actually raced the GNCC when I was on a KX100, and I got third overall. And that sort of started it. And then I'd hit the first two in Florida and Georgia when I was like A200, and I always get laps. So
that sounds like me.
Not one of my highlights of my life. Yeah. But then I started working, on getting better, and I started winning the East Coast, and I got to the point where I was overall in all, most of the races, and I just wanted to better myself. I wanted to see how far I could go, and that's why I was on a budget. I was working a full-time job, 40, 50 hours a week, and training after work, and I wanted it bad, and I said to my dad, let's go down there and see how it goes, and I worked my butt off, and I wanted to prove that I could run with them guys, and I only had one bike, so I was practicing and racing on my 2011 KTM. So just trying to make it as a privateer and have somebody look at me. So.
And they did. So I think it was 2011 when you and I first met at the National Enduro in Arkansas, and you were on your KTM, and that year at the GNCCs, you were on your KTM. But then after that is when you got picked up with Fred Andrews, right, with the Far Husqvarna team. So 2012, and then of course this year.
Yeah, I was racing all the GNCCs and everything, and all the National Enduros, and I was doing pretty good in the National Enduros, like top 10s, and then GNCCs, I was never outside the top 5. So, I showed some consistency, and I know that, things happened at the Fred's, and spot opened up, and he gave me a call, and he wanted me to come ride a Husky. I was like, sure, I'll do it. I'm game for it. Something different, something to change it up, and he wanted to give me some help, and I was about tapped out the money fund, so I was looking for any help I could get.
No. Well, with the Husky, I think you said you were on a 2-stroke. Is that correct? You were on a KTM 2-stroke?
Yeah, 250 XC.
250 XC. Okay, so making that transition, I think that's an interesting conversation because you hear a lot of different opinions from different riders on how they make the transition from 2-stroke to 4-stroke if they have been riding a 2-stroke all the time. Now, you guys, it almost is a resounding theme that y'all are just good you figure it out and you just do it. That's not the way it would work with me, unfortunately. So, some of the guys out there that might be thinking about making a change in brands or maybe in, engine displacement, if you will. Well, not just displacement, but actually strokeage, if you will. Tell us a little bit about that transition from not just the KTM to the Husky, but maybe as well, the two-stroke to the four-stroke.
Well, the biggest thing that I came across, was switching from the two-stroke to the four-stroke, as you were saying, is the power was different. It was a different kind of power. Like the 250Fs, it's all traction, where the 252-stroke is, you got to ride the rear wheel spinning to keep it going, and
right.
It was a big change for me, and I wanted to do really well. I felt like I had pressure on me because they gave me a chance to ride the bike. I actually rode the bike before my first GNCC 3 times in the rain.
Great conditions. Love testing.
And I don't know. They gave me a setup, and I said, yeah, let's just do it, because I couldn't test. It was so muddy out, and I just wanted to do good, and I didn't want to let anybody down. And the biggest thing for the four-stroke was just trying to get used to the power. It doesn't hit as hard as a two-stroke, but it's real smooth and always hooking up and making traction. So that was the biggest change for me. But once I figured it out and I wasn't revving the bike as high, I started going really good on it. And it took me a couple races to figure it out and a couple more times of riding it. But by the end of the year, I had it to a science, and it was awesome. But for anybody making the switch, it's going to be difficult for the first month or two, because it's a totally different animal. You're going from a bull to a giraffe. So
right,
it's totally different. So it just changes it up, and that's why I think I did so well on it, because it was actually something fun. It changed it up. I rode a 252 stroke since I was 15.
Right.
20. So, it changed it up, made it fun, and that's four strokes are fun. So, that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, and then the difference, say, you were on your 310 this past weekend, and I believe it's a 310 that Husky's kind of been developing throughout the past couple years. I know you were on a 310 at the ISDE, but not this past year in Germany, but not. I don't believe it was the 310 you had been testing, and the 310 you had really been working hard at. But so tell us a little bit about that bike and your experiences on there on the new Husky 310.
Yeah, like you said, the Husky over in Germany was a 2012, and the 2013 TXC 310s come with a red head, which is it's a new motor developed by Husqvarna. It's basically a 250 with a big bore kit on it, but the cylinder, everything comes like that, and it's right from the fly, it's ready to go. And I rode about the whole month. I only had one bike, and I was riding a 310 nonstop every day down in New Jersey, training and riding, and just seeing if I could break things on it to see what was going wrong with it, what was happening. Just trying to get it to the point where it was race ready. And actually, to be honest, I didn't break it at all. So
that's awesome. That's the goal, and you surpassed.
Yeah. So it was good, and I put a lot of time and effort into trying to get my enduros up better, my scores, and trying to be closer to the competition. Because I know, 2 years ago when I started the enduros, I was 10 minutes back off the leaders.
Right.
And last year I was 5 minutes, and then this year I'm actually competing for top right there.
This year you're winning. I think that's a fantastic look at it. So
yeah.
That's a really good. Go ahead.
But yeah, the 310s, it's come a long way from what it was, and it's a really, really good bike. And I think you're going to start seeing more and more of them around, because once it just changes it up and makes it fun. It's like a KTM 350, but it's just a little bit more mellow, and it suits a lot of people a lot better.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, that's actually a really good transition into the fact that you won this past weekend's National Enduro. So, as I was kind of saying, this was a TSEC sanctioned race as well as a National Enduro sanctioned race. So, this was, round 4 or 5. Honestly, I don't do math, but this was one of the dissect rounds, and so that's why we had myself and a couple other people out there. We were planning to be out there. It was a National Enduro. Of course, I'm going to be out there. Support the sport, support my series, all the people out there. It's also fun to come meet guys like you. We don't live nearly close enough. It's fun to just chat, have a good time, hang out, all that fun stuff. I can't believe that you did such a fantastic job and won this past weekend. When I was looking at when we were talking, I think it was right before test 3. What you're telling me, you're having fun. You're like, I'm enjoying the rocks. Everything is going really good. It's just smooth sailing. And everybody else I talked to was talking about trying to not fall. So tell me about your weekend and what you thought of the course, and we can kind of nitpick it from there.
Okay. I went to Lubbock, Texas before for the National Enduro, and that place was a little bit more difficult, I felt. Very like a different landscape to it, and I struggled there. So I tried to change my attitude going into this one. I had a negative attitude coming from Lubbock, but I was like, you know what? I've been training and I've been putting my time in, and I've been pushing really hard to do better in these enduros. So it came down to just having fun. I try to have fun as much as I can, and I started making my first test was good. Like I didn't even think I did that well.
Yeah,
I was having fun jumping little rock ravines, and you know how the first test was. It was fast in the beginning, and then it got rocky in the later parts. And I don't know. I was just trying to have fun, doing wheelies over, jumping ditches, doing wheelies, just little things to change it up to make it fun. So I didn't get tired of it, and I definitely think that helped me through the day. And I mean, it just the trail was so good. I was surprised on actually how well it was. Like single track, yeah, but it also had a good variety of rocks, and I grew up in the rocks, so that's maybe why I liked it a little bit more. I got some of the gnarliest rock gardens behind my house that you can't even get through, So,
right.
I don't know. I just had fun, and I love the place. I'll go back there anytime.
Yeah, I've been to every Concho Enduro they've had since 2007. Now that doesn't sound like a ton, but that's when I started riding again, in Texas, and I love it. I will be there again if it's super dusty. I'll be there again if they have another mud run like we did a couple years ago. I think that's it's such a unique place. Like you were saying about the Lubbock race, you can get a ton of that kind of stuff in West Texas, but I don't think you can get a ton of properties like we had there for the Concho race. And that's really, it just keeps me coming back. I like how much the elevation changes. I like the fact that it goes kind of from little baby head rocks to really shaly rocks, and the neat like shelves that kind of get formed. So sometimes you get these wicked downhills that are like, downhill mountain biking, like race courses. And then, of course, if you go downhill, you got to go, unfortunately, back uphill. So those can get a little tough. But no, I love that. Love that race. So you were talking about how much fun you had in the first test section. Now, I by no means rode a good race. That's okay. I kept it on 2 wheels. You were second overall in the first test. Just throw out an idea. How do you think I was overall in the first test? Number. Just throw out a number. It could be a high number.
50th?
Well, I was 76th.
All right.
That's pretty. No, don't even say it was pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty good. At least you made it through the first section, yeah?
Yeah, that's true. The bike didn't die, and I didn't quit, so I guess there's always that. But I don't know. I just got out there. It was cold as shit. I couldn't feel my fingers, and I had Thad Duvall on my road busting up a bunch of dust in front of me. It's like, and I was like getting squirrely and acting stupid, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay upright. And that's what I did. And I had fun. And honestly, I took that mentality, just like you said. And I had fun the rest of the day. I only had 2 stupid bobbles, and they were just the dumbest, stupid layovers. One in a very rocky turn that I lay over, and then one in a super dusty berm that blew out on me. My own fault. I pretty much knew it was going to happen. But other than that, loved it. What did you think about the third test, the A-only section?
I actually went in there, and I was, that I walked that test a little bit. I knew what it was going to be like, and I was like, man, this this is sort of just like my house. The dirt's a little bit different, and I was really excited to get to that one actually. And I knew I could post a pretty good score. And well, I guess I got like a mile in, and I like came down off a hill, a shaly hill, and I couldn't get stopped for the trail, and I lofted down over like a little, I want to say a cliff, but it was a big downhill. My bike slid all the way to the bottom, so I ran down after it, and then I had to like pull my way. I had to pull my bike out of it, and I got going again. But that was like really my only get off in that test. But I really loved it. It was a butt kicker for sure, but it was gnarly rocky, but it was fun. I had a blast in it.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was 2011. This is probably my third year. No, this is my fourth year doing the A-only loop out there. And it's gotten, by no means, when I say it has gotten easier, do I actually mean it is easy? But when I first did it 4 years ago, like, it was holy shit fire. There were bikes all over the place. Because I don't know if you remember, probably about somewhere about 60% in after that big uphill, that where everybody was at the bottom, and then we did that long uphill. When you go across the off camber sections there, the off camber rock sections, when that gets even a half bit wet, like bikes are just piled up down there. Because I mean, if you weight your pegs just a little bit wrong when that stuff's wet, dude, you just like shrink. So you gotta maybe next year they'll cut some new trail in there, and we'll come back and make it a little more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I thought that it was cool. It was cool how they ran us through the ravines, like in the third test, and then came up out and did that side like little goat path. I thought that was pretty cool. Like it's tricky because you think you have traction, but if you got on the gas, you'd slide down the hill. So I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I like riding in the ravines and then hopping up out of them and everything. That was fun.
Yeah, it's a really, really neat section. Before we're going to go ahead and slowly start to transition into pulling Dale and Brian in, just because they're awesome. They want to talk to you. They want to know about your weekend as well and talk to you about all that kinds of stuff. But coming to Texas, racing the Concho Enduro, you got your first win now. You didn't win any test, but you won the race because you were the most consistent person on the day. So you won that race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to take that momentum, into the next round in Louisiana?
Just basically the same feeling that I had going into this was just to have fun, and whatever place I get, that's what I get. As long as I give it 120% and I'm having fun, then I mean I like to win. Everybody likes to win, but I'm happy. I'm just happy being out there riding. That's just the biggest thing for me. And if I'm having fun and it comes down to it, I'm going to put the hammer down. I'm going to try to do a top podium again, or just try to keep it inside the top 5. That's like the biggest thing for me. Like, this is the first ever race that I did that I was actually in the top 5 at every test, which is like a really big step for me.
Right.
And now it's just like improving each one, instead of getting 5th, maybe get 4th, keep it inside the top 5 and just stay consistent. And maybe win one test. That'd be cool. I've never won a National Enduro test, so it would be really cool to do that.
Well, what did Fred Andrews do when he found out that you had officially won? Since he wasn't he the last Husky rider to win a National Enduro, like 2003? I think the last Husky rider was like 2003. So what did?
Yeah. Fred Host was the last Husky one.
Fred Host, that's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying Fred Andrews just because of the fact that you ride for him and that I'm an idiot.
Yeah. No, it was Fred Host in 2003, and then the next one that won a National Enduro was Randy Hawkins in 1983 or something like that. On a Husqvarna, so
it's like a 20-year span.
Yeah, it's been a pretty long time. So I'm pretty excited that we could actually get it up on the podium. That's just a cool thing itself, and I'm glad that the that I could get the brand up there and change up the orange and blue a little bit, you know?
Oh, dude, no, I understand that. You know, I ride a KTM, but the thing is I actually have quite a few pictures of myself on Huskies back from like in the early 90s, back when they had those awesome neon green shrouds that looked like cocaine vomit. But,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that was all the rage back then, so whatever, people go with it. You know, Italians are crazy. They'll put whatever they want on a bike. Well, I guess it was owned by Cagiva back then, but still. All right, we're going to go ahead and call in really quick Dale and Brian, and I am going to talk about one of our fantastic sponsors, FlyRacing.com, who actually Andrew rides for. He rides for Fly Racing. So if you can't see it right now, I do actually have some of the 2013 Kinetic mesh gear with an awesome heat-pressed Seat Time logo on it, which is brought to you guys by Dale Spangler and the fantastic guys over there in Boise, Idaho. The plan was for me to wear this gear this past weekend at the Concho Enduro so that Shan Moore could get some wicked pictures of me in it. But because of the fact that it was like 30 degrees, if not colder, at the beginning of the race, I chose to actually keep some form of warm gear on and not try to freeze myself completely out of the race. So I did not wear it, but I did make it look really cool by having it next to me while I was sitting here on the couch. And it's fantastic looking gear. So if you're looking for any kind of spring or summer gear where you want to stay extremely, extremely cool, they say it's mesh gear, and it's mesh gear. So it's got a thinner mesh up top, and then if you come down to the bottom, it's, you know, when your armpits, where you're going to sweat a lot, it's much, much thinner, much bigger, much more awesome. And then, hey, Dale, I see you texting. I'm in the middle of an ad for your thing, so shh, okay? Oh, he's actually taking me serious. That sucks. But, and then, of course, if you look at the pants, I always think it's fun because they have this neat little zipper lock. So you're like, hey, what's up? How you do this? I have a zipper lock. And it keeps my pants from falling off, which is always fantastic because nobody ever wants their pants to fall off. So with even better, if you look at the liner inside, it is completely mesh. I'm actually not wearing it on the couch right now because I'm afraid it's so meshy that you might actually be able to see my junk. And though my junk is cool, I don't think that's what we're trying to keep people from stripping on Seat Time and showing their junk and wearing Fly Racing. That's pretty much what's happening. So now that I've talked enough about Fly Racing, I can never talk enough about Fly Racing. I'm going to keep talking about them all the time. We thank them very much for their support. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Dale Spangler, Brian Elliott, what is up, homies?
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, you know, just looking at your awesome getup you got going on there.
Pretty trick, huh?
I know. It's fantastic.
We were just trying to chime in on your cocaine vomit conversation you were just having. That was wonderful.
You like that? Well, I mean, that's, you know, Huskies, 1993 to what, 98, 97, something in there. I mean, those guys were rocking the awesomeness of the neon green shrouds. They weren't bringing it back. They were creating it.
Just like Don Johnson's flower shirt on his boat, I guess.
Yes. Or Tom Selleck and his mustache. I mean, that shit's never going away. It doesn't make a difference if it was a good idea or a bad idea. It will always just be there.
Especially with you being the host.
Yeah.
It's never going to go away, is it?
I guess not, unfortunately. It kind of sucks. Well, the mustache did.
Yeah. I hear Brian Pierce is personal friends with Tom Selleck. I heard that's...
Dude, if I was personal friends with Tom Selleck, he would be right here.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I know you don't know anything about motorcycles, Tom Selleck, but you're Tom Selleck. Get on my couch.
Oh, man.
Can Andrew hear us?
Andrew, can you hear all those guys?
Yeah, I can hear him.
All right. Well, Dale, do you have any fantastic things to say to Andrew?
Just super pumped for you, man. You're just on a roll. Stoked for you.
Yeah, it's going pretty good right now. I hope I can keep it going, you know, for the most of the season. That's about it, really. I can't. I don't want to jinx myself.
Yeah, understand that. Yeah. So from what I was reading, it said that event was pretty rocky, kind of like Pennsylvania. You said.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the same rock as like my house, but it was like a shale rock with like straight edges and stuff. But rock's the same. It was just just a little bit looser than at home. So I had fun on it, and it was actually just like riding at home. So maybe that's why I liked it so much.
I think I remember racing at a track in eastern PA way back in the day called Berwick. Is that thing still around?
What was it called?
Berwick.
Berwick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's still around. I think they have some local hair scrambles there. I think still.
Yeah.
It's not very. If it's still going on, it hasn't been around for it hasn't had a local race in a while. But I've heard of people actually still riding there. So
Made me think of that when we were talking about rocks, Pennsylvania rocks.
yeah.
Makes me think of meth.
Of what?
Nothing?
I think he's a meth.
Yeah. Well, I think, Brian, a lot of the pictures that I see you post when you're out with all your little buddies, I mean, all the pictures, as in like at 9 o'clock in the morning, I don't think you actually do anything but wake up, get out of bed, and go ride your dirt bike, which I applaud you on. That's fantastic. But I definitely looks like you guys know about rocks, though, up there.
Yeah. We
A couple.
Yeah, we got a couple chances. We went out yesterday morning. Wait, was it this morning? I don't even remember. Yesterday morning, I think we went back out and
It's a blur.
kind of rode the rest of the Hare and Hound. One of my buddies from Montana came down, so we went and rode the backside. We rode the Hare and Hound lift backwards, and it was beat to death. And yeah, there's a lot of rocks. I'm pretty pumped I didn't race that because some of those rocks in the dust would be, I don't know, I wouldn't have much fun with that.
Yeah.
So,
Be looking like, was it Timmy Wiegand's wheel from
man.
the 250 race where they peeled the rim?
Yeah, just rough.
Ugh.
Yeah, one of the guys from Mountain Home, he seriously hit a rock and just squared up his wheel, like 9 spokes gone, and he was just like, all right, I'm done. All right.
You don't need spokes. Yeah, when we were at, I think it was the second gas stop, I was talking with Jeff O'Leary, and he was like, man, I was trying to figure out what that ringing noise was, and then I realized I had a bunch of broken spokes. Turned out it was one, but still, it was one that was enough to do that. But man, he changed it. I was like, go you. I was like, I would have just like tightened up the 2 next to it and been like, what up? Like, we're going. So that guy's way more hardcore than I am, and a faster rider. So maybe that's just how it works out. I wondered if you guys had any comments. We were talking a little bit about Andrew, obviously not just winning this past weekend's Concho National Enduro, but his performances at the XC2 or at the GNCCs in the XC2 class, winning both rounds, where we were saying that the past 2 years, he's come 3rd overall. He's been talking about wanting to try to really mix it up, and he did that at the back half of last year, just unfortunately had that injury. So I didn't know if you guys kind of had any insight to the way that Andrew's been performing at the GNCCs, earlier this year. The 2 rounds, of course, but still.
Well, it is a long season, but I mean, obviously for you, Andrew, starting out with actually getting some points had to make a huge difference. Not missing 2 rounds, and it seems like you've kind of gotten your groove with the bike and everything, and that thing just seems to be working for you. So I had a question about the Enduro. So did you ride the 310 there?
Yeah, I rode the TXC 310, the R, and it was. I ride the 250 in the GNCCs, and then I ride the 310 in the Enduros because it can carry my weight a little bit better. So, yeah, I mean that's what I rode this past weekend. So
That's cool, man. All I know is I'm pumped for you too, man. I think it's just phenomenal what you're doing. You're going out there and the consistency that you've been able to maintain just the opening couple of races so far this year. I think it's awesome, dude. You're showing everybody what's going on, and the bike and the platform that you're doing it on. It's kind of there's so many points that I think you're proving and doing it on your own, and I think it's awesome, man. I'm proud of you. I think it's great.
yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it means a lot, and like you said last year, I didn't have any points, and now I walked away and I have like 60 points, so I'm way better off than what I started with last year. So I'm excited for the whole season, and I can't say enough about it already. I'm ready to get racing and get back on it.
I think. Go ahead, Dale.
I'm really pumped for how you. I mean, for Freddie too, and just how you've kind of meshed really well with him. And
Absolutely.
I know his program where he's kind of you know, he went through a couple of riders there where I just think that you fit into his program really well because you seem to be on the same page with him. And you know, Freddie's a hard worker, and I think he expects the same out of his riders, and you just fit right in there. So we couldn't be happier as a sponsor of Fly, you know, having Fred's team and having you, and so it's been awesome. Home for you.
Yeah. I mean, Fred, the atmosphere at the team is I mean, you can't say enough. It's just a bunch of good guys, and you know, they want to help and they want to win, and you know, Joey's really good mechanic, and you know, he keeps all the bikes running at the top notch, and you know, it's just we go there and we have a goal, and I have a goal too, and it seems like it's the same goal, so we just help each other, which is the biggest thing, but also, you know, it's a friendship too. So I mean, they do anything for me, and I do anything for them too. You know, and it's just it's a really good relationship, and I hope it continues.
That makes all the difference, man, when it comes to racing, and you know, just the family atmosphere. And I think that, you know, I can speak for it on our side with the M-Pro program. It's kind of the same thing. It's, you know, it's when you get all of us together under one group, it's all the puzzles, all the pieces of the puzzle coming together, and everybody trusts that everybody knows their role and does their, you know, has their purpose. And you know, as the rider, it's definitely something where we look at what you guys are doing, and it's just, there's such a mutual respect there that it's exciting. It's exciting, and it creates that family atmosphere even more. And that's really what off-road is all about. Is really letting people know that, hey, this is there's such a team effort that goes into all these different programs that it takes a family to run them, it seems like. So
absolutely.
Do you guys think that feeling and that kind of, you know, that community that you're talking about right now is might be a reason, say like a Zach Osborne, like that guy's not getting paid to come do these races, but he's wanting to come out to these GNCCs and the J Days and stuff and come out here. Do you guys think that there's, you know, there's a community there that he just wants to be a part of?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, for somebody like Zach, you know, I mean, he's such a down-to-earth good kid as it is, but I mean, it's just probably refreshing for him. You know, he's in that Supercross pressure cooker, you know, environment all the time, to where it's hard to be relaxed, let your guard down at all. For him to be able to go out and be in that GNCC vibe where everybody's, I mean, I couldn't believe when I went to Loretta Lynn's, you know, like I guess it was not last year, but the year before, and I'd kind of forgotten that you can just pretty much walk anywhere you want. You know, if you get hit by a bike, it's your own dumb fault, you know. So it's like I'm walking around going, man, can I go on the track? And it's like, oh yeah, you can just go wherever you want. You know, I mean, you get used to that Supercross thing where everybody's got their tarps and their fences, and you can go here and you can go, you know, you can't go here, and so
their outbreak huts.
Yeah, the outbreak.
wait, we're not bringing that up, anyways.
Yeah, I think for somebody like Zach, it's probably just got to be a blast, you know. Plus, obviously, it's going to help him when he comes to the outdoor nationals. So. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it because, you know, with Zach showing up, it just shows how hard, you know, guys like, you know, Andrew and Jason and Grant. It shows how hard you guys are working out there, and it brings such a legitimate purpose to GNCC. When he comes out there and you show him what's going on, Andrew, it shows how fast and how hard you really are riding out there, and it shows that you're not just a woods kid from Pennsylvania trying to hold on to a dirt bike. Like, it shows that you're legit, and it just, you know, and again, you know, we got it from with Jessica Patterson, you know, riding under the M-Pro tent for the past couple races. You know, you get the same thing. She goes, you know, at first her mechanic just feels a little out of place and he doesn't know what to do, and we're just like, dude, you know, there's nothing here that's off limits. You know, this is everybody's program, and you know, really creating that atmosphere. It's something that I don't think you get to see in moto, and it makes it fun. I definitely think there's a huge part of that with Zach, where he gets to come and just like let his guard down and say, hey, I'm just here to race and see who the fastest kid out there is. So
yeah. Zach said actually at the Georgia National at the GNCC, he parked next to me on the starting line, and he goes, I said, so what you know, what's your game plan? You know, you gonna ride most of them, or you know, like, I knew he wasn't gonna ride them all because he's, you know, contracted for the Supercross and everything. And he said, hey, he's just coming out to get some seat time. That's all he wants. And you know, then he goes, in the future he plans on becoming a GNCC racer. So after Supercross and Motocross, he's planning on coming outdoors, and he likes riding in the woods. He told me, and you know, he's a great guy, and he's really talented on a motorcycle. Down in Florida, he actually wheel tapped, like Supercross wheel tapped 6 whoops in front of me, and I couldn't believe it, to be honest. Like I believed it, but I was like, that it takes a lot of skill to do that, and you know, I have a lot of respect for him. You know, you think a motocross kid comes out, oh, they're not going to be able to hang, but I knew he was going to be good, and he definitely, you know, just he's such a nice guy, and you know, I can't wait to see him again.
Well, do you know what the next round he's coming out to at? I mean,
No,
you said you mentioned it to him. I didn't know if he actually said, I will be at this one, or just he'll be at another one. Or
No, he just said that he was coming out for these first 2, I think, and then you know, he's got to go back out and do his thing out west, you know, for the West Supercross. So I mean, but he said definitely, like, after he's done racing, you know, Supercross and motocross, he's planning on coming off road. So I mean, right there, you know, that's just, it says a lot, and he, you know, he respects what we do for, you know, a living, and you know, it's awesome to see that. So
yeah, well,
It's definitely, I think with the crossover too, I think that there's a lot of moto sponsors, and you know, I hate to put it like this, but I think there's a lot of moto sponsors out there that kind of just don't really acknowledge the off-road industry as being legit. And I think that with Zach coming out all of a sudden, it opens the door to new sponsorship opportunities. You know, when they see Andrew going out there doing what he does, there might be 3 new sponsors that come on board and say, wow, you know, this kid, you know, not only are you getting that exposure for Zach coming out, it's such great exposure on the mainstream side of moto for Jason and for, you know, for Grant and Andrew. All you guys are being able to share that limelight with somebody who's, you know, he's got a little bit of that star power bringing it to the series. I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's awesome.
yeah, even with the Jessica Patterson coming out, I mean, that right there, I mean, that's a couple motocross girls like Sarah Whitmore, and I mean, there's more, but I mean, for them ladies to come from motocross outdoors, the ladies classes in the GNCCs are huge.
Oh,
and I mean, they're, yeah, I mean, 40 plus girl, like, women, you know, that's a big class, and they're ripping. I mean, it proves they won the overall each race, and I don't think that's ever been, I mean, I think Maria's done it maybe a couple times, but I mean, you know, it just says how competitive it is getting, you know, and it's good to see.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, especially I know on the women's side there, they kind of had the struggles with the outdoor series being reduced.
Cut it
and
to
so,
what, 3 series? Or
three
races?
or 4 races, and I think it's nice for them to turn to the GNCC and for the GNCC to kind of embrace them coming on board. And, you know, like I said, it's like Brian said, it works both ways. It helps both sides, you know, because having motocross people read a story about Zach Osborne and how much he respects the off-road guys, it definitely opens some eyes, you know, and so I think it's a win-win. I even saw I think a couple days maybe after Georgia where Freddie Andrews was tweeting to Kevin Windham, hey, when are you going to come do a GNCC? I mean, that guy would be, I bet he'd be pretty phenomenal in that.
It'd be awesome to watch, too.
Well, they unfortunately gave him a microphone really quickly, and I have a feeling they're going to try to contract that guy super fast into the Feld family. I like seeing him on TV for sure, but I'd much rather see him in the woods tearing ass on a dirt bike, I think. But
Fred Andrews has actually rode with Kevin in the woods, and he says he's a really, really talented, you know, he's smooth, and he's really a good ride. You know, he's most talented guy on a motorcycle in the world, you know, no doubt. But Fred Andrews said he's really pretty talented in the woods, and if he came to a woods race, he'd actually do really well. So that's pretty cool to hear, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no doubt. I mean, that guy may train with 12-ounce curls the entire summer, but he's one hell of a rider, and I think it shows. You know, he's also one hell of a beer drinker. He's got the big party that goes on, you know, at his house and everything, at his ranch. I haven't gone yet, and I think we should go. Maybe that's the next seat time outing.
Doesn't your mustache kind of get you like? Isn't that like a backstage pass to that? I
Well,
don't know.
it was, and then my daughter shaved it off for me.
Yeah,
so,
well, I think you can come back pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can always come back pretty easy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, anybody that could pull off wearing a belly shirt around the Supercross pits and make it look cool, he's a badass.
Yikes.
Yeah. The scary part is as you were saying that, I immediately went, oh shit, when was I wearing a belly shirt at the Supercross? And then I'm like, oh, thank God he's talking about Kevin Windham.
Yeah, I went to the same place. Like,
I know.
I went to the same place. Was Pierce really doing that? And I was like, oh, yeah, never mind.
I can see where you'd be confused. Because that's something that wouldn't surprise me of Brian Pierce.
But to the three things that I'm going to take away from the immediate conversation we just had is Brian Elliott's drinking water. This disturbs me. Somebody mentioned Sarah Whitmore at the GNCCs. She was actually at the Enduro this past weekend. And if you see pictures of her and she's wearing skinny jeans, yes, they are as skinny as they look. Holy shit, those things are tight. It's ridiculous. And 3, absolutely, I am going to mention my love for Kurt Caselli at any opportune time, and I figured this was it right now.
It's coming at some point.
So that was for you, Mr. Elliott. What the hell's up with the water? That's the most important question, though.
I'd like to point out that Andrew DeLong is drinking water, and as somebody who is a huge fan of Andrew DeLong, I'm also just drinking water.
There is water in the bottom of my non-manly beer.
We're going to call this the 12-step episode of Seat Time, because I believe he's not drinking beer right now either.
Hey,
so.
this is a show of GNCC XC2 solidarity.
Yes.
I wish somebody would have told me that my show had gone sober.
As long as you're holding up your end for all three of us.
Somebody's going to have to be holding me up if I'm holding all of us up, because this is going to get awkward. All right, so before we move on, really quickly, I would like to thank yet another fantastic partner of Seat Time. Obviously, we mentioned Fly Racing, who is our title sponsor. Thank you very much to them. But Squarespace.com. A lot of people are like, what is this Squarespace business? Well, I got to talking with Squarespace because of the fact that some of the work that I've done with front-end web development, which is building fantastic websites, made me realize that a lot of athletes out there in our sport could use this because of the fact that it takes all the pains out of making a fantastic professional looking website. Go to squarespace.com/seattime, and that says, hey, I watched this on Seat Time. I want to give them credit for the fact that I'm coming to check this out and learn more about it. That way you say thank you to us. But what's going to happen is you get to see you can go register a domain there, so you can be like, BrianEdwardPierceIsCool.com. You can't buy that because I already own it, but if you could, that would be it. And then you get your own domain. Boom! Then you get to brand yourself. So then you can pick out one of their fantastically beautiful templates, which make websites beautiful that work on all devices. You don't have to do anything crazy. And that way you can post all your race reports. You can post all your fancy pictures and all those great little YouTube edits that you put up there that I think are fantastic. Don't let anybody lie to you. All of those on your website that is completely hosted by Squarespace. So what have you just done? You gave them a little bit of monthly money, and they do everything else. You just put the content up there. They make the website freaking awesome, and you can pick the theme that makes you look the best. Squarespace.com/seattime. The discount code is SeatTime1. You will save 10% off of whatever purchase you make. So if you buy a month to month, you get 10% off the first month. If you buy a year, you get 10% off of the whole year. So obviously, like I said, we're not mathematicians over here, but the more you buy, the more you save. It's the way it works out. Please go check them out. We appreciate their support. Fantastic websites are the way of the future. Yay! I don't know. Nothing? Yeah, I know. Jazz hands! Okay! All right. So one of the big reasons besides their ruggedly good looks that we have Dale Spangler and Brian Elliott on the show to talk with Mr. Andrew DeLong is because they were actually at the Hare and Hound this past weekend in Murphy, Idaho. So I say this to you guys. How badass was it watching Kurt Caselli just like dominate? You know what I'm saying?
Well, honestly.
I know. but just
It
tell
was
me.
really actually tough. Kurt had a horrible start, and Kurt, he started from his bike didn't start right up, and Skylar Howells, I think his name is, from Fast Company, he got the whole shot, and Skylar, Jacob Argenbright, Nick Burson, they led the first 60% of the race. And man, huge props to Kurt. I'm amazed. He came through so strong. I mean, when we saw him at the halfway mark where we were shooting, we were probably, a little further than halfway.
Yeah, he's probably sixth.
Yeah, and in like 4 or 5 minutes down.
Yeah.
And he came through it. If you talk to Jake or you talk to Nick or you talk to Davey Camo, they'll all tell you, man, Kurt came through with just pure energy. And when it's really funny because I think when you get passed by Kurt like that, knowing how far back he was, I think there's a little switch in your head that goes, all right, we'll see you later.
Yeah, don't hurt me.
Yeah, see you at the top of the podium. And, Kurt's just so driven and, not to push more on your man crush, but it's just awesome to see somebody just do that well. It's just crazy.
It's technically a bromance. There's like man crush is like, you could say a man crush is here, and a bromance is it's like a whole nother level of awkward man love. It's just
about like a brerage.
Brerage.
Bro marriage.
Well,
Is that legal in Texas?
I just made that up.
Absolutely not. But on Facebook, if you want to post a picture of a red image with 2 stripes, today's the day to do it. Apparently, I mean, I feel
like if you changed your marital status to married to Kurt Caselli,
that would
actually be probably the best thing you could do.
Why don't you continue to talk about the Hare and Hound, and I'm going to do that right now.
I think that's a solid idea.
I think that should happen. So okay, and my love for Kurt Caselli should never take away for the fact that there are other very talented professional racers out there who at any time, if they want to come to my house and stay, I will still gladly accept their presence because I love awesome people. So David Camo, Jacob Augerbright raced amazing races, and they got to be on the top step of the podium. So tell me about the terrain though. Like, how was, you said that you guys kind of rode it backwards. There were a lot of rocks that looked beat to shit. How were the laps laid out at this round?
Well, it was laid out actually real similar to. It's not a lap setup. It's actually two major loops. You start one from one area that's about 30 miles away from the actual pit itself. So it's kind of confusing. The start of the race and the pit were in 2 different places. But where you start is a huge bomb run, probably I'd say 300 yards as far as overall width from one side to the other, and then funneled down after about probably close to a mile, funneled down into a 12-foot gate. So you've got, it's whoever gets there the fastest and whoever can close their eyes and pin it, the most efficiently. And Skylar was definitely the dude to do that. I mean, they came through. It's just terrifying when you look at it from the other side of the gate, a mile away, and you say all of us have to funnel through that. You just hope that you're the first one there, and it was cool though. At least the bomb this year wasn't super rocky. There was a lot of brush.
You say bomb or bong?
Bomb.
Bomb.
Bomb run.
Yeah.
Bomb.
But solid.
Not the bomb.
Not the.
I know. I was like, you guys need to start drinking because you're getting weird.
Yeah, the smoke screen in here is just a little thicker.
That's Andrew's lighting. Don't let the fluorescence lighting fool you.
That's Pennsylvania lighting up there.
So Andrew, I got a question. So do you ever have any aspirations to try one of those races, Hare and Hound? I know that's totally quite a different deal.
I actually have. I like going fast, but that stuff that bombs off the start is pretty crazy. I've watched a couple videos, and it looks pretty gnarly. But I'd actually like to go out and try like a works event or try one of them. I think it'd be cool to try it, but I've never even been to California or past Texas, so still working on getting there. But yeah, I'd love to try it. I think it'd be cool to do.
Yeah, they had it set up good. So I mean, the first loop was once you got through that gate. I mean, guys started spreading out immediately, and it goes right in from like pretty fast 2-track like ATV trails to they broke it up right into a sand wash and then cut right into single track, which was really rocky. So it was the way they designed the course, Andrew, just so you know too, it's quite a bit different than GNCC with a 12-mile loop. I think the first loop was something like 44 miles.
Yeah.
And then once they complete that 44 miles, they run into a pit. And then after that, they went back out for another 60-something miles. So, and then that's a totally separate loop. And the second loop was kind of broke up into a mix of really technical and then really, really fast stuff. And I think Kurt made up all of his time. I mean, being such a well-versed rider in just everything. I mean, I think his speed and just all that.
I think the last section was pretty fast.
Yeah, that's what Jake said.
And,
so
obviously he knows how to go pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that well. That's like when he texts me too. It's like boom, like I'll send him a text and it's just like he just instantly replies. I'm like, man, that guy's fast at everything. Just blows my mind.
It should.
Well, yeah, Brian and I had the opportunity to kind of shadow one of the legends in off-road photography there with Mark Correa. So we followed around and while he was shooting photos, and we tried to be amateur paparazzi ourselves.
Yeah.
Take some photos and tried to glean some knowledge from him.
You should have just taken pictures of him the entire weekend.
We actually did. It worked out pretty good, and we decided Alliance Off-Road was going to sponsor Mark because we wanted to sponsor a photographer because I mean the amount of effort he puts into each race is amazing. He just straps on his boots and goes and just hikes in the middle of nowhere. I mean we followed him chasing the race. We probably went to 4 or 5 different spots to chase him, and man, he takes it to a new level. I mean he knows the inside and out of what the track layout is. This is a guy who lives in L.A. and he knew our Idaho desert better than we did as far as where he was going from pit to pit or from point to point to shoot his photos, elevations. I mean, he had it all set up, so it was really neat to kind of be inside the photographer's mind. I mean, aside from being an amateur tattoo artist, I am in no way even an amateur photographer at this point. So
is that why you guys stopped drinking? So Dale doesn't accidentally get a tattoo tonight?
Well, I wanted to do a neck one, like just kind of in this area. But I don't know. Yeah, he said no.
I love Woody.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say.
More water. Andrew, do you have any tattoos?
Any what?
Any tattoos?
No, I don't have any tattoos.
Good man. Keep it that way. I have enough for all of us.
All right.
No, that's not true. I still have more planned. I just don't have enough money. This shit costs money. It's ridiculous.
Well, those teardrops are really expensive. I think.
No, those are gonna come after I kill somebody because I'm crazy. I don't know. Wait, is that the Mexican gang or is that killing somebody in jail?
I don't know. I think anymore a teardrop is really just so you can look like Lil Wayne.
Oh,
no, it's if you kill somebody, you get a teardrop. That's what it is.
See, and you guys know that I'm a hard mother. I will hurt people.
Well, I think he needs 3 then at least. Right?
Yeah.
I think that a total.
Yeah.
Just from this past weekend.
If I had one for every hog I killed with Barry Hawk, I could definitely put a teardrop.
Those are some fantastic pictures. So the question is I have actually been offered a couple times to go hog hunting in Texas randomly. Should I take that up? Should I go hog hunting?
Sounds frightening. Elliott told me.
To be honest, it was the way that I got to experience it was unlike any other hunting adventure ever.
Only a knife?
Andrew, your Pennsylvania boys between Sean and Barry, those two they're as good old boy as it gets when it comes to, hey, let's go try to catch us an animal. And
no pants and only a knife.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, Andrew, do you know Sean Remington?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I mean, those guys, between Randy Hawkins, Barry Hawk, and Sean Remington, they turn into 12-year-olds when they go hunting. And it's so much fun because they're so excited to go hunting. It's like kids at Christmas. They're just like, all right. And I think Sean had been scouting out the point or where we were actually going to hunt for like 6 days before the GNCC. So when we got there, we got this. And, man, they were making fun of Barry the whole time because they said Barry hasn't fired his gun in, probably 5 or 6 years. And so when Barry actually shot the hog, they thought Barry shot me. And so they came running to make sure that one of us was still alive. Yeah, man, those hogs were, I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking little, 30, 40-pound Miss Piggy, and it terrifying. So if you're gonna go, I would say definitely bring more than a knife.
Yeah, what's kind of scary is literally one of the guys I was talking about how at my wife's family reunion earlier this year, one of the family members asked me if I wanted to go hog hunting, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird. I don't know." So then I was telling a guy to race, and he's like, "Well, did they say with a gun or with a knife?" And I was like, "They didn't have to say. I figure it's a gun." And he's like, "Oh no, dude. There's dudes in Texas that hog hunt with knives, and that's it." And I'm like, "That's jacked up." Like,
was it you that was telling me that Andrew Short's wife hunts him with a knife?
I believe so. Yeah, she gets after it with hunts the pigs.
Dude, Jackie Short. I'm staying away from mid Texas because that sounds super dangerous.
Extraordinaire.
Right? All right. Well, we did have a little bit more racing that went on kind of on the national level before we just get totally off subject and Andrew Delong falls asleep sitting in his seat. We don't want to keep the professional racers bored. We want to keep them happy and, go lucky, which he is.
Yeah,
he's smiling.
Questions for him, though, that I thought of.
Dude, Spanky's got a question. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Spanky, rock it.
One of the things I was curious about, Andrew, is I know in the past you were working and racing. Are you able to just race now and train full time, or because I know that was one of the things that I was really impressed with is that you're working full time, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and then still doing the whole GNCC there when you're still finishing on the podium. So
yeah, I mean, right now I stopped. I still worked all winter to get some money so I could go down south and support myself while I didn't have any income coming in, and I sort of cut back on my working now, but when I do get home for periods of time, I do work still. I work at a scrapyard, and I cut scrap all day, so I know what it's like to have a real job, and I don't really want to go back to it right now. So the more racing I do, and the better I do, I'm able to continue living, I guess you could call it.
That's awesome.
Probably makes you hungrier too, to keep in that spot because it gives you even more motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like I said before, I was talking to Brian. I said that I was working 40, 50-hour weeks and only working on my bike at nights and not even riding during the week. I'd show up Sunday and just show up and race, and I'd train, but I wouldn't ride because it was dark when I got home from work. So now it's a little bit more serious, and I take it as a job. It's this is how I'm making my living right now. So but I try to stay working to keep in reality for sure.
Another question I had is I know you always hear about the Baylors, the brothers, and I know you have a younger brother, right, Craig, who's coming up through the ranks, and he seems to be going pretty fast. Like is he in, I think, 4-stroke lights A this year, and he's been up on the podium in top 3 a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, if Craig actually won, if Craig rode like he did at the house, he'd probably be winning XC2. To be honest with you,
that's awesome.
He's a really good rider. He's very meticulous. Yeah, like if he doesn't do a corner right, he's got to go back and redo it until he gets it right, and that's just a difference between me and him. He's very cautious. He thinks about things where I'm just bullheaded and I just do it. And he's very, at his age, he's more talented than I was at his age. So definitely once he gets his man muscles going and puts a little bit of weight on so he can ride a 250F like a man, he'll be all right.
That's the brother talking right there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a call out to the younger brother.
Yes.
Hey,
That's awesome.
that's awesome.
Hey,
man. That's great.
Hey, I got there's 6 years between me and my brother, and I don't get to pick on him very much when I'm not home. So anytime I get to dig in a little bit of a knife, I get how I want to. So he's probably watching this right now. He probably wants to jump on and yell at me or something. So
well, that's okay. There's a chat room for that, so we'll let him get in there and do that. Do you think that it looks like Grant Baylor, Stuart Baylor Jr.'s younger brother, has been doing extremely, extremely well as also, and then it sounds like your brother's fantastic. Do you think that there's some blood in the water in the sense that they're getting to watch you and the effort that you put in, and as well as Grant to watching Stewart, and then going, okay, cool. Now, if I put in that amount of effort and training and then learn from what he's learned, and then they have their own bit on top of that, that's why it seems that at such a younger age, they're finding that ability to be as fast, if not faster than you are at that time, or were at that time.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to Grant, I'm pretty sure he won't tell you straight out that he learned a lot from Stu. But I think the younger brothers definitely learn a lot. Like, for me, it was just my privateer. I never knew anybody. Like, I bought my gear. I bought, my bikes. I bought everything that I owned. Like, I was wearing the same set of gear and had my grandmother patch it every week so I could race with it the next week. Yeah. And that's racing on a budget now, where I think it helps the younger generation, or my brother and also Grant. I mean, once you get your door open a little bit, they can sort of get in there a little bit easier, and they also learn lots. Like when I go hang out with people that at the race, it's usually pro riders, and I never had that opportunity. And my brother Craig, he'll just sit back and listen, and he won't say anything. But when he's watching Russell Bobbitt, or I'm talking to Charlie, he'll just sit there and listen. And he's like a encyclopedia. He just absorbs everything, and I think that's just how the younger brothers are. They have it a little bit. I don't want to say they have it easier, but they have a lot of teaching and mentoring to get it to that way.
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I have a sister that's younger, so if anything, I picked up Barbie playing more than she picked up motorcycle riding, even though I'm the older brother. So.
Yeah, I hear she has an up-and-coming competing show, actually, about Barbie time.
Yeah, well, it'll instantly be a better hit. So
I think it's really interesting. I think that, like, kind of what you pointed out about the polar opposite riding style, you really see that with Stu and Grant. I mean, you hang out with Stu and Grant, you're talking A and B. You're the most opposite individuals as far as personality goes and riding, but it's so true that I think you pick up on that, and it allows you to, you're your brother's keeper in a way, to where you're paving this path to where he's going to be able to not only learn from what you've done, from the experience as the older brother, but also use you as a mentor to help him with the things that you had to do that were a lot harder. And now, if it sounds like your brother's a smart kid, now he can kind of take the knowledge of you saying, hey, you were there when you had to get your pants patched up, and he can say, hey, I can either go there, or I can take it to the next level and learn from Andrew has to teach me. I think it's awesome. I think that's cool that you're there for your brother in that sense, and that shows a lot about you and your character.
Yeah, I mean, I try to help my brother out as much as possible. I mean, my family, we're not the richest people in the world, so.
That's fun. Oh, dude, is somebody watching the show somewhere in the room?
No,
I don't mean that. Like, the four people that are watching it have hit me up. Where's that coming from?
That's strange. Huh?
Feedback.
Yeah. Technical difficulties as usual. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, we're getting technical difficulties at the end of the show opposed to the beginning of the show. So for some reason, Steven's pants are talking about the show.
I think Andrew had a ghost in his room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're good now. I don't hear anything bad.
Yeah, it sounds fine now.
All right. Well, man, dude, I think it was Steven's pants. I'm just gonna go with Steven's pants.
Now, I got a quick question, Andrew. One of the things that I was wondering is with the recent purchase of the Husqvarna brand, have you guys felt any forward direction or whatnot as the race team goes, or has there been any excitement or anything? Even though it's kind of been a secondary purchase from the CEO and whatnot of KTM, has there been any excitement from you guys as far as possibly becoming more of a experimental platform, kind of like Husaberg possibly, as far as bike technology, things like that, being able to kind of have something from the KTM field? Have you guys felt any of that yet, or any of the impact from that decision on the European line, or has that kind of just been in its own world?
It's actually, like it's still in its own world. We haven't heard much at all. All I know is that Fred has a contract, for another year, I think, and his deal is set. So my deal's set, but the people at Husqvarna, I mean, it's up in the air for them, so it all depends on what the new boss wants to do. It's crazy that it happened like that like just that quick, but no, we don't really hear much about it. We just keep doing our job, and I mean, that's all we can do right now. And
that's right.
If you have a job, you have a job, and if you don't, you don't. But I hope we do when we come out. So I hope I do. So
yeah, no, I think that's actually a fantastic question, Brian. I think kind of what more he's alluding to is not just the fact that, or not just like, oh my gosh, does that mean we will have a job? But I think it's like you guys, the FAR program and yourself riding on these Huskies has done such a fantastic job that they wouldn't think about, if they were to back out of America, sure, maybe they would cut that program, but I think they would be putting more into it. And as he was kind of, I think, alluding to, was like bringing over newer technologies and different kind of ways to test things out that, the FAR program might be able to have access to. And then obviously being a FAR rider, then that way you would have said access. So, but unfortunately it doesn't sound like you've heard anything like that.
No, everything's sort of like right now it's hush hush, and that's just the way it's staying. I mean, we get some parts from Italy, and they help us out a lot, as much as they can. But Fred and Joey, they put a lot of time, and even Amy, they put a lot of time and effort into making it is, the company over here to what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people that have great, like the off-road reps. I mean, just great people, and I mean, it's all up in the air. I can't really say anything. I mean, about it. I don't know anything. So
right. Well, as soon as it comes out, I'm pretty sure that Brian Elliott's going to be the first person to know about it, because he always seems to be that guy. So,
yeah.
But that's all right. One of the things that we were kind of talking about was the fact that you said, hey, maybe one day I'd like to race a works. Well, spring break just happened, and when it's spring break, that pretty much is synonymous with seeing chicks in bikinis on the side of a racetrack for works. One day I'd like to be there, mainly for the women in bikinis, more so than the racing, but I'm pretty sure that the racing would be a very, very big highlight. So with the racing that went on this past weekend was round 3 of works. And we had Taylor Robert came back from Argentina, and he got first place. And we had Robbie Bell in second. Robbie Bell sounded like he was really, really, really trying to beat Taylor Robert, but just didn't have it. And then, of course, Brett Metcalf, who is getting ready to go do the Canadian Nationals in Canada, got third. I think that's pretty cool. We're seeing another motocross guy show up at an off-road series doing some racing and kicking some ass. I mean, that's fantastic.
It's one of those things that is it can do, as far as marketing goes in the off-road industry, it's no secret that moto, no matter what, is always going to be king as far as the way it trickles downhill. A lot, even two guys sitting on a trail somewhere are talking about who won Supercross the night before, and so just the presence of having these guys come out and be able to just shine more light on our scene and something that we hold and we put on a pedestal. Mainstream moto still isn't there. Part of us are kind of glad that it's not, but at the same time, we do enjoy the respect factor, and I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to gain respect for somebody like Andrew to go out and just, honestly, lead one of the best motocross racers and up and coming motocross racers in the country, and really show them how difficult it is to do what you do, and then not only to have him acknowledge to you, man, this is on a different level. I mean, there's so much affirmation that takes place for us in our industry that I think, Metcalf coming out and works, it's all good in every direction. I mean, there's just nothing bad that can come out of that.
Great for the sport.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's really helped things this year too has been I got to give the Racer Productions people some pat on the back for the webcasts. Like the ones they did with you there, Brian, last year. They were kind of a little you know, it was a little rough. I don't think they had these things dialed in yet, you know. Nothing to do with the announcing.
Hey, that guy sucked. It doesn't make a difference.
No, but I just think like the last Georgia round, I watched the whole thing live, and it was just phenomenal. I couldn't believe how good job it was. You know, there's whole sections where you were watching the action, you were following it.
Yep.
I mean, that's something there that's just going to help that series.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I emailed one of the guys that's, you know, kind of been trying to set that up that I'd been talking with last year, and I just told him, I was like, you know what, I didn't just enjoy watching the show, but I wanted to watch the show. Like I think that makes a big difference, is because I'm an enthusiast, so I want to watch the show. But wanting to watch the show, am I going to actually enjoy the whole process of it? And I did. I mean, I'm sitting there on my computer and I plug it into the TV, and it's fantastic. I think their webcast this year is awesome. I'm so glad they're doing it. Andrew, you're on the internet all over the place now. I mean, you're famous.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the whole world gets to see. I mean, Andrew, you are one of my favorite racers to watch out there watching somebody ride, because your style is so unique. And when you're on that motorcycle, I swear you're fearless. And it's just the craziest thing to watch you ride that Husky on the edge the way you do, with such confidence. And I love watching that. Like, you've got guys like you were talking about your brother, who's just meticulous, and there's a good portion of the field is like that, you know, just that meticulous consistency. And then to watch you go out there and just, you can hit the same corner, that same berm, and just blast that thing 10 different ways on 10 different laps and just rally it so fast. And it's just awesome to see. I don't know. It's fun. It's entertaining to watch. I think it's awesome. So
that's good. Usually when people aren't watching or something, I'm banging off the trees, ping pong off the trees. So I'm glad people don't see that part, because
yeah, there's a photo rolling around of some sort of an endo somewhere, I think.
Yeah, I think I do recall some of that.
Yeah. The last two corners before the GNCC, I stuffed the front end in a big old sand berm, and I stood it up pretty much for like 5-10 seconds on the front wheel, teetering there, and then I flipped over the handlebars. So it was all good. I mean, I still got up and I won, but yeah, I make a lot of stupid mistakes like that, so it does happen, you know.
Well, I think to Elliott's point, you did look fantastic every single time that you wound up passing me from 4 minutes behind this past weekend. It was fantastic. I heard you coming. I moved quickly over. I let you go by, and then I continued onward at my semi-snail-esque pace. It was fantastic.
How'd you finish this weekend, Pierce?
I finished 51st.
Nice.
Overall.
I did look that up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you have fun?
Oh, dude, as Andrew and I were talking about earlier, I love Concho. Love that enduro. I'm so glad they had a national so that more people outside of Texas could have a chance to appreciate and ride the property that they have out there, because it is phenomenal. Yeah,
I mean, it looked a lot like what we have here, kind of in our foothills, and that's where I was wondering. Now, where in Texas is it? Is it like further west?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to go, and that's the thing is like, and again, the Lubbock issue, or the Lubbock part of Texas that Andrew was referring to earlier, is more of a northwest as you're heading out to closer to Amarillo. And if you were to hit Abilene and head southwest for about an hour, that's about where this is at. So it's strange that you're actually more south than you would, you know. But dude, it's crazy, and it's way more shaly than you were to get anywhere. It's an interesting property. It's awesome. It's an exotic game preserve. Like, so not only will the rocks kick your ass, but there is a possibility that buffaloes will kill you.
Yeah, I got passed by a doe. I was ripping along the trail, and a doe was running next to me, and it actually cut me off. I slowed up because it was running. I'm not lying. It was running right next to me. I could have reached out and touched it, and it cut in front of me. I slowed down, and then I caught back up to it, and it cut across again. And that was the last time I seen it.
He was a huge Husqvarna fan.
He's like, I got to see that 310 twice.
Yeah, I guess I should say sheep. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, it's a good thing. Dude, if you'd had a helmet cam on, we could have had like one of those really cool mountain bike scenes lately where the dudes have been getting taken out by all the wild animals. That could have been you.
Yeah.
Except it's just Andrew just punching the deer in the face.
Take that. Get away.
Get out of my way.
What was it? That he would have showed him his man muscles, as you put it earlier? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Arr.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, you were talking earlier, Andrew, about like how you said you kind of difference between you and your brother. You more of like, I guess, muscle it. You say you just kind of put the bike where you want to. And a rider that comes to mind that's pretty similar, that was pretty successful in motocross, was Jeff Stanton, and I think his nickname was even the Bulldog. And man, talk about a guy that would just, he just made it work. But then the thing about him is later in his career, like it's like he transformed his entire riding style. Like he had one of the best style I think I've ever seen. So,
well, it just shows that being able to take it like that, like you said with Stan, I mean, to be able to be that talented, that naturally talented to just muscle that bike wherever you want, then you just start applying the different techniques and different things, and it's just, again, it's win-win. There's no direction you can go except up with that. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I actually this winter I did a riding school where I did a Rich Lafferty riding school.
Yeah.
And he helped me so much, just with little things that I never would have seen. And we worked on momentum, carrying momentum, and standing up, because I got in a bad form when I broke my collarbone, and that whole incident there. I got in a bad. I wasn't in shape, and I started coming back from it. I started riding sitting down a lot, and I rode the whole last year sitting down the whole time. I didn't stand up at all. So he helped me this winter. Actually, I did a couple classes with him, and he's a great teacher, and he taught me to stand up, momentum, and I think it's helped me and become a smoother and faster rider. So I mean, I'm trying to get better at it and keep moving forward with it.
That's awesome.
Strangely enough, that probably actually helps you conserve energy with the standing up too, because your body's not taking as much of a beating, probably.
Yeah. It's definitely a pretty big difference. I didn't feel, you don't feel as beat up as you said after the GNCCs. So.
Yeah, you allow your body to adjust the suspension. You kind of act as your own suspension. And I mean, if you actually, with Jason Raines, it's one of the things that he's just so adamant about as well, is just you actually have 100% of your weight is where it needs to be when you're standing up versus sitting. You're actually applying the right weight to the foot pegs instead of allowing the seat to absorb that weight. Now your contact points and everything's getting what it needs to be, allowing you the bike to be its best performance. And that's awesome. I think it's great. It shows. I mean, clearly what you're doing is right, and that's awesome. I think it's incredible.
Did you get that, Pierce? No, don't be sitting down as much.
Dude, did you not see the picture of me that Shan Moore took from this past weekend?
No.
Dude, Go to Facebook, look at the picture I posted. I promise you could post that in a magazine and be like, that is the attack position, motherfucker. Like, that's the tagline. Attack position. Like,
there's only 24 hours in a day, and for me to spend 23 and a half looking at your Facebook page, it's hard enough.
I was going to say, to spend 23 and a half hours on Photoshop trying to make Pierce look like he has good form on his
Dude, no. I mean, I am the first guy to say that I suck at form. That picture is awesome. And I give 99.9% credit to Shan Moore's photography skills. So, but
everybody has their moment in the sun.
Everybody.
But it just surpassed yours.
Literally, it was test 2. The sun had just come out. My fingers had been unnumbed for like 5 minutes.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Now every photo that comes out from here on out, that was his one moment of glory in his photos. Everything else is going to be the one-hander.
It's going to be the Alex McGray or McGree. I always say his name wrong. But when he's gooning out for all of Jason Hooper's shit.
Shoot, man.
Bar hump it. All right, so I appreciate you guys for being here on Seat Time. I appreciate everybody that's watching Seat Time. And there's another person that really appreciates you watching and being involved with Seat Time, and that is Power Sport Graphics. They our fantastic partner and sponsor of Seat Time. Where can you find them on the internet? ridepg.com, if you may think about it. ridepg.com. There's URL for their website. If you go to that website, you know what you're going to find? You're going to find a very, very easy process ordering awesome graphics for your kick-ass motorcycle. Not only will you look good, but you will feel good because you know that you just saved 40% because you chose the ready-to-ship option that they have as an option for you on their website. And if you're thinking, wow, I need this today, you order it before 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, boom, showing up on your door same day as well. If you're like, you know, I'm not really into that kit, but I'm into something else, and you want to just save 10%, discount code is SEATTIME, SEATTIME. As easy as it sounds, folks, that's how you do it. You go to your little browser, little window, ridepg.com, find what you like, discount code SEATTIME, save yourself 10%, support the awesome as Fly Racing and Squarespace and RidePG do, and have a good time. We thank them very much for their support. My gosh, guys, we have done a lot of talking, and I think this has been a fantastic show. Lots and lots of good information. Andrew Delong, you, sir, are kicking ass, taking names, and throwing down some fantastic, some brainiage. Like, you know, it's smart what you've said tonight, and I really appreciate that.
I think it is. I think it's the smartness is just. We're not drinking.
Thank you.
It's very intellectual, the show tonight.
It's just real grown up. I feel like a grown up tonight.
Yeah, I kept my pants on the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I just want to say once again, super pumped for you, Andrew. Keep on after it, and yeah, we're stoked to be helping you out and Freddie's team out, and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, real proud of you, man. You're killing it, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and I had a blast, talking with you. Thanks for the support. It means a lot, and I can't keep going without it. I need as much support as I can get. So,
well, we're definitely going to keep being there for you. Where can people find you to, if people want to get in touch with you, or if they want to follow you, or be able to, find all your fun news and stuff like that?
You can follow me on Facebook. I have, look me up on Facebook, and then I have a Twitter. Husky at Husky Guy 8. I have a website, but it's technically being worked on right now. So
Squarespace.com/seattime.
Yeah, I wrote it down earlier. So
good man.
But you can reach me there, and anything helps, So
we know somebody that builds websites too for riders.
Yeah.
Shit. I may be out of a real job soon, and I may be competing against Elliott. So you just keep my number really close. So we'll just go with that.
Just keep sitting down and ride, and we'll compete all day long.
Oh. Oh.
That works.
I don't really have a good comeback. You're always the guy that supports me, and now you're attacking me. How am I supposed to?
I wouldn't say attacking. I would say passing. There's a difference.
No, we have never. Okay, that's unfortunately just not a statement that will work at all because we've never ridden together.
No, that's true. Oh, we did kind of. You came to Idaho City. I went to Montana. It's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I went by you in a vehicle.
Well, we had a good time though.
It was a good time. Okay, what you have been watching, for those of you that are still here and still listening, we appreciate you being here. This is Seat Time. You can find us on our website where we archive all the shows, all the fun shenanigans that goes on at seattime.co. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/seattime. And, of course, Twitter, because everybody likes a good hard tweet every now and again, twitter.com/seattime_co. I appreciate Andrew Delong, Dale Spangler, Brian Elliott for being on the show. It's been a fantastic time. I have gone through 3 unmanly, gluten-free cider beverages of adultness. And if nothing else, I'm probably going to go enjoy at least one more Pint Full of Awesome. You all should do the same thing. Thank you very much. See you guys next week.
All right, thanks.